Welcome to The Mighty Dragon. This week I caught up with actress Cat Lellie about her latest movie, Move Me No Mountain, in which she plays a homeless woman, Jenna, grieving the loss of her child on the cruel streets of Las Vegas. It was such a powerful, moving performance. I was so delighted that Cat agreed to come on the podcast to discuss it and also to talk about what her plans are for the future. Thank you, Kat, so much for this interview, and I look forward to welcoming you back on The Mighty Dragon soon. Hello, Kat. How are you today?
I'm good, Victoria. How are you?
Fine, thank you. Welcome to The Mighty Dragon.
So excited to be here.
Absolutely, and I'm super excited to have you on here since watching Move Me No Mountain. And I thought I must get you on because I wanted to learn a bit more about your acting journey. So how did it all start off for you?
I would say that there's like two parts to my acting journey. The first part, like anybody who wants to be an actor, I saw Home Alone and I was like, that looks awesome. I want to do that.
Yeah.
um, I definitely wanted to be Macaulay Culkin, and I thought that looked like the most fun job ever. But my parents kind of didn't really think that, so they're both doctors, and understandably. But I always was really into performing. I did dance from like a really young age, and I did cheerleading like all the way through college, and then I did plays like a little bit throughout school. But I really didn't come back to theater until like the end of my college experience. So I started doing plays, like really, I was just like, I love doing it. I did community theater a bunch because I was like, I just enjoyed it, and eventually I got an agent, and did lots of commercials and short films, and kind of without much surface success, I would say, until I booked a role in the feature film adaptation of a book called The Evening Hour.
Yeah.
So the movie is The Evening Hour, the feature film, and it ended up screening, or actually, excuse me, world premiering at Sundance 2020, which is actually where I met Debbie. And so
Yes.
the rest of that is history.
Yes, I was watching my interview back with Debbie actually earlier, where she mentions that she met you at Sundance. So, yeah, that's great.
So the second part to my acting journey, I think, was just kind of a byproduct of I just love being on set. Like it's like my happy place. I say I'm a set junkie. I love it so much. So I would production assist or script supervise, or I started casting directing. I started, teaching acting, and doing like some scenes like with the students and stuff. And I learned how to edit just by like editing auditions. And I'm a pretty fair editor at this point. And I even decided to go back to school and get an MFA in creative producing. And so I think as a result of having all of those little pieces of the puzzle, especially the, really deep diving into narrative story structure, which is what you do as a creative producer.
Yeah.
As a result of all that, I became a better actor, and that was just something I didn't
Right.
anticipate. So I will say, for like people that are like wanting to get into the industry, just kind of learn as many parts as you can, because they all kind of feed into one another.
Right.
So yeah.
Yeah. So you've got a really good grounding in all areas, and then that enhances your skills as an actor.
I think so, yeah.
Yes. So, what types of characters interest you?
Oh my goodness. This is a really tough one. I kind of think everybody is really interesting. I think oftentimes somebody will tell me a really cool story, a personal story, and I'll ask them for their life rights. I'm like, that's amazing. Like, can I use that?
Yeah.
So that's probably more the producer in me, but I think dream role would be like United States of Tara. Like I would just want to like play all the parts. But I definitely am really drawn to more raw and gritty and grounded characters, just like real people. The kind of things that I like to watch, like I think neo-American realism is probably like my favorite genre. So I just like playing people who are real, and I think playing a grittier type of character, like somebody unsheltered or an addict. There's
Yeah.
something a little bit freeing about that as a performer, just because technically you don't have to worry necessarily. Like, you're not like wearing a corset. It's not like a period piece or something. Um, and, you know, it's like dirty hair, don't care. You know, you don't have to worry about continuity or like, you know, people always coming in and like, you know, touching up or, you know, your hair, like my hair's quite unruly. So it doesn't matter, right? If you're kind of playing. So that's kind of freeing as a performer, I think.
Great. I understand about unruly hair. I've had to
Lilac,
trial all my.
is everywhere.
For Move Me No Mountain, you play a homeless woman who is grieving the loss of her child. What research did you do for this character?
So Debbie obviously was an amazing resource, and we collaborated, you know, from about January to when we shot the film in October. She, you know, she did a lot of research right there on the ground in Las Vegas and working with the Las Vegas Rescue Mission and the Shine a Light Foundation. So I knew that a lot of the stories in the script were authentic and real. And we talked about a lot of her experiences meeting people in the tunnels, for instance.
Yes.
So I had that as a nice sort of something to ground initially. I did a lot of research on my own. There was a documentary, and I'm blanking on the name of it, but it was about the people who live in the subways under New York. Yeah. So that was pretty powerful. And in addition to just doing research on unsheltered peoples, I did a lot of research on grief. And you know, within my own family, actually, my namesake, Catherine, I'm named after my mother's sister. I never met her. She passed away when she was in college. So my grandmother had published her memoirs. And so I kind of went back and read about her experience of dealing with like the loss of her child. And then ironically, my dad as well lost a sibling very tragically when they were kids. And I just remember him telling me that his parents, my grandparents, who were very devout Jews at the time, like stopped believing in God for like a year. Oh, so gosh. I kind of like channeled that in the story, actually, when Jenna, one part is she's in the tunnel and it's raining or flooding all around her, and she kind of tells God to F off. Yeah. So yeah, just that's kind of where I grounded my research for this character.
Okay. And at the end of a day shoot, is it very easy to disconnect from the emotions of playing a character like that?
I think for me, it was. I think, you know, I got to sit and live with Jenna for quite a while, as, you know, preparing for, as, you know, the movie was coming together. So I think that I was able to, you know, drop in and drop out very easily. You know, I had a very specific playlist for Jenna and like songs for each scene. So I kind of was able to just get in there and get out. I think I was reminded of when I read Bryan Cranston's biography, and he was talking about at the end of a day of Breaking Bad, he would go into his trailer and like get like a really hot rag and just like kind of soak Walter White out of him. And yeah. And I think I related to that because I literally, I mean, I had so much dirt. I was caked in dirt. It was like, it was in my ears. It was like everywhere. And then I had like root spray in my hair because we were trying to kind of denote time passing. Yeah. So I had to take like and it was in my nails as well. It was like everywhere. So it was like a significant scrub to get that off, just because I was like, you know, I need to be able to sleep in order to show up every day at, you know, and do my best. So yeah, so I kind of felt like my Bryan Cranston like washing off the character a little bit. But I think when you have like a really great team, a really great crew and cast, everybody was such a great environment behind the scenes that there was no way that, you know, that you could stay in a heavy, dark, emotional place.
Wow, I think that's such a good thing to have that light at the end of the day after. As I watched that film, oh gosh, I was crying, and I'm a mother to a daughter as well, and I just found it so relatable,
Oh
the
my
the
goodness.
pain of even thinking of losing her. But I think some of the scenes will absolutely stay with me forever. One of them is where you're walking up the highway, I think they're saying America, and you could visibly see the heat coming off of the road. What was it like filming in Vegas? Was it extremely hot and uncomfortable, or okay?
I think I was anticipating that extreme weather. I, I was training really hard. I wanted to have the endurance to get through these like really long and like strenuous shoot days where we were like running like all over the place. And I kind of used Jenna's mentality of she deserves pain, so I kind of was like training in really hot weather and running, and I just kept making myself keep going. So
Yeah.
I think I was prepared for the heat, and we actually postponed. They wanted to film in August, I think, and we had
Oh
to
gosh.
postpone because the equipment like literally would have like malfunctioned
Yes.
in like over 100-degree heat. So by the time we filmed, it wasn't. I don't recall it being like really exceptionally hot, but I think what I wasn't anticipating was the cold, which I knew it got cold in the desert at night, but I think it felt even more so because my character is very waterlogged in a lot of this movie. She's in a pool, and she's
Yeah.
always, and when you're conveying like heat sometimes on screen, like you get sprayed with this like glycerin water, so the makeup artist is always like, I'm sorry, and it was like shh. And so I think a lot of the times I felt a little more cold than some of the crew or other cast members, because I was supposed to be
Yes.
sweating, and it wasn't necessarily like that. And people were always like shooting me with water guns, and it's just a wet. It's like Aquaman. It's like she's wet this whole movie. It was really funny. Like our first AD named John Kring, who's such a wonderful human being. I love him so much. John, if you're watching, hello, I love you. We actually got to be roommates for the 3-week period that we made this movie, and he is also. So I'm in Ohio, and he's actually from Ohio, but he lives in New York. We did not like bring anything sufficient for cold weather. I mean, I think I brought like a light puff jacket or something, and he brought nothing, and he's kind of actually like a big dude. We had to go to Kohl's so he could pick out a hoodie just to like get through. And then there was one night we were filming in a parking lot. Debbie doesn't even remember, which is wild because Debbie like cannot stand being cold. But she was just it goes to show what mindset she was in. It was so cold. We just grabbed all the blankets from the Airbnb, and we were just like, ooh. But luckily in that scene, I don't think you can tell that it's cold. So that's good.
Yeah, do you know, I thought after I asked you this question, I thought you were going to say the heat was so extreme, but you've been speaking about the cold, which is hilarious. I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah.
Another scene which really stuck to me, like, wow, that's so powerful, was where you held the gun in your mouth. How did you prepare for that?
I don't think you can. That was a first for me, and I think just, and I mean, I maybe we should have a more glamorous answer, but I think just the action of doing that is
Yeah.
really impactful. And it's really heavy. And of course, like I, checked the gun. It was a prop gun, but again, like just being a responsible actor, I was like, show me how, open it up, show me.
Oh gosh, yes.
It's kind of ironic that that Rust tragedy kind of happened right after we shot that scene, but
wow.
But yeah, I and just the thought of somebody, the loneliness that they must feel at that time to go to that length is quite powerful. So yeah, that was a heavy scene.
Yes. And after playing this character, what did you learn about yourself?
Oh my goodness. So before moving to a mountain, I think I kind of like followed the rule of RuPaul. Do y'all know RuPaul?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I love RuPaul, and we share a birthday, so I feel like a kinship.
Oh,
to
really?
RuPaul. But you know, RuPaul always says, like, you know, if you can't love yourself, how the hell are you gonna love anybody else? Can I get an amen? I always was like, that's so true. And I think going through this journey with Jenna has made me rethink that, and made me think that when you don't love yourself is exactly when you need to love somebody else. Because that's kind of like her experience with Layla, who plays Lisbeth in the story. I mean, I don't think that Jenna loves herself yet at the end, when she kind of decides to you know, take Lisbeth and protect her. But I think she sees that this person is unloved, and it's bigger, you know, because she's a child. And I think the same thing applies to, you know, if I can't help myself, like, how am I going to help somebody else? Like, you know, and I think that same rules apply. Like, if you are feeling helpless, you should help somebody else. Yeah. And that in turn will kind of feed your soul a little bit. So that was a big, I think that was a big impactful effect. And other than that, I mean, I learned I can carry a movie. I'd never had the opportunity to know, you know, and then it was also just, I didn't learn this, but it was kind of a validation. Like, there's a part of me that was kind of under the assumption that if you're not sort of like cutthroat and just like super aggressive, that, you know, nice people don't make it in the industry. And it's just been like a really pleasant affirmation to know that, you know, like, I'm genuinely like a nice person. Like, as me, like, I can't fake being a bully. It's just not who I am. And you know, I have like no poker face in real life. And Debbie is like such an amazing person, you know, and she's like one of the nicest people, and like also most immensely talented people that I've ever encountered in my whole life. And she still is, you know, humble and vulnerable and very vocal about, like, I'm not sure if I like it today or this or that. And I'm like, you are like a unicorn, like you are, you know, so magical. So I think it's just an affirmation that, like, there are a lot of really good people that get, you know, that make ground, you know, that like get far in the business. And so I think it's not just a cold Hollywood kind of, so to speak.
Oh, I honestly thought it was such a wonderful film and great performances all round. So congratulations to you all.
Thank you. I'm so excited to share it with people. I'm super proud to be a part of it. And I just wanted to work with Debbie.
Oh, is there any special memories or funny moments from behind the scenes that you can share?
Oh my gosh, so many. Okay, so there was one time we were filming in one of the tunnels, and we kind of heard this very subtle rumbling. Like, it was very quiet and very far away. And it kind of like gradually kept getting louder and louder and louder until we're like, this is, because, you know, Debbie told you about the tunnels, like go like hundreds of miles under Las Vegas. So, you know, but we couldn't see anything. It's very, you know, it's dark. You can't like tell what's happening. So it just kept getting gradually louder and louder and louder until it sounded like, okay, this is coming. Something is coming. And then we see this like really like bright light, and we literally just like ran out of, like, our lives depended on it, like maniacs, ran out of the tunnel. And it turns out this humongous Jeep Wrangler, like, it filled the entire top to bottom of the tunnel. Huge Jeep Wrangler like comes out, and it's one of the guys. They do like tunnel drops, so he actually was a real life shine a light worker. And so, you know, he was going through and seeing if anybody needed anything. And Debbie was like, "Oh, hi, I'm Debbie Richards." And he was like, "Oh, hey, Debbie," you know, and they chat. And then I'm standing there looking like what I'm looking like. And he turns to me and asks me if I want socks or toiletries. But like, I mean, so I was like, great, we're authentic. But I also was like, it reminded me of that scene from Labyrinth where like David Bowie like throws like one of his magic balls, and it's Sarah and Hoggle, and they go, and Hoggle's like, "Not the cleaner," and it's like this huge round machine with like these like slicing knives that's like coming towards them. That is exactly what I thought that it was going to be. So anyway,
oh my God,
showed you my true, really cool character.
do you know, I have a very similar story to that. I must tell you, it was actually in Vegas, and a friend or an old colleague of mine, she was on honeymoon with her husband, and they were going back into their hotel, and the doorman stopped them, and he said to the husband, "Sorry, no prostitutes in here, please."
Oh my, that's horrible. Oh no.
Yeah, she was mortified, absolutely mortified.
I mean, I thought people can get away with anything in Vegas. What hotel was it?
I can't remember, but it was in Vegas. I remember. Oh, that's all I remember. This is like about 20 years ago.
Oh my gosh.
How terrible is that?
Let's not tell her about.
I should keep that quiet, that one.
We're not going to like say her name, but she knows who she is.
Yeah.
No, what was she wearing? Oh my gosh.
She always looked, I think, always looked good with a short dress. Anyway, but yes, that was her story from Vegas.
Wow.
What have you got coming up?
So obviously, like, I'm kind of enjoying riding this Move Me No Mountain wave. It's incredible, and it's a first experience like this for me. So I'm just excited for people to see it and, you know, be affected by it and talk about it and see, you know, what happens. And other than that, I'm doing a lot of producing. I actually work full time for a production company in Columbus, Ohio. So it's called Mills James Productions. And so I get to like kind of live my dream like every day. It's always different. You know, we do all different parts of the production phase. You know, we do pre-production, development, production, and then post-production. So I get to do it all the time. And I love it. That's kind of a new chapter for me. And then I also produced with my partner, Sterling. He actually had a little voiceover cameo in the movie. He was the cop on the walkie-talkie.
Yeah.
So I'm sure you remember that. And so we are, let's see, March 30th, we start shooting a short film that's a comedy in the vein of our two favorite brother director teams, which is the Farley brothers and the Coen brothers. So, so I'm producing that. And then in terms of acting, it's, you know, Move Me No Mountain, I got to do so much in that film. I got to do like heavy drama, and then there was comedy, and then I got to do like, you know, these action sequences and do stunts and all kinds of crazy stuff. And, you know, it was kind of like a dream role. And again, like, to work with Debbie was just like the equivalent of like working with like Spielberg or like Stanley Kubrick. Like, it was just so amazing. And the whole experience was just like really unique, and like it really was like magical. Yes. And so it's kind of hard to top that, But you know, if a really great director wrote like a really great great part, you know, I definitely would be down to read it. And if they don't want me in it, like maybe I'll help them make it. So it's kind of win-win for me, you know?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Sounds pretty busy times coming up for you. Best of luck with Move Me No Mountain. It's such a wonderful film, and I'm going to tell everyone to go and watch it because it's so terrific. And you're absolutely fantastic in it. Honestly, really, 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 I couldn't stop crying throughout the whole thing.
Well, I'm sorry. Sometimes it's nice to have a good cry, right?
Absolutely.
Well, thank you so much for watching, Victoria. Again, my niece's name, so I just love that so much.
Yes, thank you again, Kat, and hopefully see you back on the Mighty Dragon at some stage on your next adventure.
I would love to. We'll do like a double. We'll do like a me and Debbie, and
absolutely
Patrick, the producer too. He's wonderful.
Oh yes, Patrick. Yes, absolutely. I'll catch up with him. Thank you so much, Kat, and I will speak to you soon.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Bye.